Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing Ride 4. Endurance Round 2 is upon us in the World Endurance League, and we'll be on board the BMW S1000 RR Endurance Modified Bike right here in Interlagos. So starting from the back of the grid, we didn't bother with the qualifying as always. I prefer to start at the back and work our way through. So we're going to just... a little bit of a contact made there with one of the other BMW riders, but I'm going to let the rest of the grid get through, and we will start from 12th place and slowly work our way through. I don't want to be just rushing off or just completely disappearing into the distance. I want to try and stay with the AI as long as possible to try and make this a little bit more interesting. So braking into turn 4 for the very first time of asking. We'll be doing that quite a lot of times, a good 20 plus times I would probably guess, as Alvin Finch is ahead of us. He started 10th place on board the Yamaha YZF R1. We'll be chasing him down, taking it easy on this one, because I did find in the other endurance races I've done in the past, by getting out to the front and just disappearing is not as entertaining. And it's also not as challenging, and I do like a good challenge, so I thought maybe change things up a little bit and try it out here where we start from the back and slowly work our way through. Now, interestingly enough as well, I have gone for the medium front tyre and the medium rear. I did feel that the hard options would probably leave me out too long, and compared to the AI, they tend to burn through their tyres extremely quickly, regardless of what tyre option they're using. So if they are using hard and we're on medium, it's probably somewhere even. And I hope we can get the tyres to wear out pretty quickly and really make this challenging for ourselves. But for the time being, just taking it easy. Going into turn 15, carrying a lot of speed. The BMW S1000 is extremely quick. As we go around the outside of Alvin Finch. Going to run it a little bit too hot. Not sure if I'll be able to get back up on the inside. Oh, I definitely thought about it. We have the line, do we? Oh, a little bit of contact there. Rubbing is racing, but we did get through. Alvin Finch demoted to the last position, and we are now up into P11. As we go around the outside of Valerie Tremblay. Going very wide there. Almost whacked up old Eric Toman up the bottom once again, like we did. Well, actually, we didn't, did he? He just crashed out in the Imola Grand Prix in round 1, where he just, for some reason, just decided to dive off his motorcycle. I think he high-sided, or I don't know what happened, but going into the chicane, he had a massive moment. As we now enter turn 8, somewhat a difficult corner to get right, because if you're carrying a lot of speed, it can be quite difficult to sort of get the bike to grip, especially if you use the outside of the rumble strip as a guide to get in. The rumble strip can be sort of bouncy and somewhat treacherous. It's not too bad, but just be careful if you do go on the rumble strips on this track. And so, Valerie Tremblay picking us up there. Not ideal from the French lady. Valerie Tremblay started 6th place, so it's not a good start for her so far. She'll definitely want to buck up her ideas a little bit more and get that Yamaha to the front. But 6th place to 10th, well, make that 11th place in just 2 laps. Not ideal for the French lady. Eric Toman ahead of us. Of course, he would like to forget the first Grand Prix, which is the endurance race round 1 in Imola. I think fingers crossed for him, he can change it up a little bit and do himself proud, or just, redeem himself, let's say. He started 8th place on the Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10 RR. And look at the speed of the BMW though. Trying to get avoiding action there. I didn't want to bump the rear of Eric Toman, so I went onto the grass there, or what's left of the grass that's been burnt to a crisp. It's 24 degrees here in Interlagos. Going relatively well so far, slowly and gently, just moving our way forwards. As Richard Tresoldi thought he'd have a look up on the inside, but he didn't. What a terrible race for him so far. He started 2nd place, he did. So on the Aprilia RSV Factory 1100, from 2nd place on the grid to 9th in just 3 laps. Very disappointing performance from the American. I expected better. As we do past Michaela, not sure how to pronounce that. I'm sure it's Michaela Marcel, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I always give it a good go, but I end up butchering it half of the time. She started in 11th place, also on the BMW S1000. And she went for the hard option front and the medium rear tyre. Interesting combination. Most of the riders picked hard, but George Adams, who is in the lead right now, he started with the hard front and the medium rear from the man starting in 3rd place of this Grand Prix, also on the BMW S1000 RR. Suraj Pandey, oh, I was hoping to get into the rear of Suraj, but for the time being we do go wide. Thankfully we didn't pick up any penalty time, just took it easy, went over the corner, because at that point there really wasn't any way we're going to save that. Sometimes it's best to just pick up the motorcycle, accept that you've made a mistake, and get back onto the track safely and as quickly as possible. Shout out to the camera girl on the left hand side there, getting a good shot of DrAce. Maybe that one is the thumbnail. Actually don't remember where I took the image of the thumbnail on this one. It's one of the corners somewhere around the track. Try not to do it during the race, otherwise you have a little bit of a break in the video. Done it before, where wide on the rumble strip. That's what I was telling you about earlier. Very treacherous, that corner. You have to get into that corner without using the rumble strip. If you do use it, you can be caught out, so just bear that in mind as we go into Biko Japato now for turn 10. Suraj Pandey, Yoko Fujikawa. We see him all the time, that Japanese rider. He's on the Honda CBR 1000 RR Fireblade SP. Full title of the motorcycle there for you. And Suraj Pandey started 4th place, the man on the Suzuki. Not doing too bad, I guess, but he is going to be demoted to 7th place as we cheekily pinch his 6th. Now doing what we can to get into the rear of Yoko Fujikawa. Get into that slipstream of both Fujikawa and Paul O'Connor. We had to just let off the throttle there and give it a bit of a break. For some reason Yoko Fujikawa brakes a lot earlier than I expected. And probably, Paul O'Connor, that's a brave move there from the British rider who started 9th place in this championship race. That was intriguing. I wasn't expecting him to try and cut me up like that. I guess you could say we're teammates because we're both on the BMW S1000 RR. But he is not giving up. No quarter given from Paul O'Connor, the fellow British rider. Going to get into the slipstream in a moment's time and probably chuck it up on the outside. Beautifully done. Which will now chuck us on the inside for Ferragura. If I pronounce that right, for the Curvo Dilla. Oh my goodness, the corner names are difficult to pronounce. And only get a split second to try and attempt it. Oh, I'll just not bother. I think it's just going to be turn 9, turn 8, etc. Some of those corners are just so difficult for me to pronounce. And I've already got a bit of a blocked nose and a little bit of a cold today, so I do apologise if that's reflecting in this video. Try and sort of ignore it and just continue onwards. But I don't think I'll bother pronouncing, considering the difficulty of some of the pronunciations. I probably wouldn't do it justice and I'll just make a mess of it. So, oh my goodness, another one I've got to pronounce. Chiu-Wei, Siu-Wei, John. Let's call him John. John Wei, John Woo. He's in 3rd place. Started off in 5th place on the Honda CBR 1000 RR. The Chinese man did. This could be a beautiful move going around the outside to then flick it up on the inside. My goodness. Chinese man says no thank you. I still want to hold on to 3rd place. A bit like the Chinese man who was battering Sergio in the live streams just a couple of days ago. For some reason he just had it out for Sergio and I have no idea why. And I don't even think he knows. So going into Decidido Lago. Chinese man still there. A little bit of a kamikaze attack from him. It's a clean move, somewhat, but he did force us wide a little bit. As we now go for the inside of him. Oh, almost give him the big don't argue. We got through. DrAce up into 3rd place. It's the first time in the podium positions for this Grand Prix. 9 minutes in so far. So a whopping 31 minutes still remain as my throat will continue to survive, I hope, for the 40 minutes. I may have to take a break in between and come back. But for the time being, duty calls, endurance race has to be done. I want to get this uploaded for Friday, so hello on Friday. This is DrAce from Wednesday. Usually I do these a good couple of days in advance because, well, with an endurance race being 40 minutes, it takes a long time to process in 4K. And I'm not even sure if this is processed in 4K by the time it's come out. Fingers crossed it has, because it does bug me that it gives so much days in advance, and yet the 4K still doesn't process. But hey-ho, it is what it is. As we now have a British podium lockout with George Adams, Chester Anderson, and DrAce. That's your 1, 2, 3. Chester Anderson started in pole position. He's been dropped down to 2nd. He's also on the BMW S1000 RR. Apologies, actually. George Adams is on the BMW. Chester Anderson is on the Ducati Panigale V4R. Of course, checking the notes there just to confirm that is correct, and that is correct. Suraj Pandey is now up into 4th place. He's 1.9 seconds, 2.21, 2.8, 2.1 seconds behind DrAce. So the podium battle for him is not necessarily over yet, but he's going to have to sort of make a few more moves and sort of try and increase his lap time just a little bit more, because he's not going to catch us up. We're going at a very calm pace currently as it stands. I do feel we can go a lot quicker, definitely into the 129s, but I'm okay with this so far. There's no need to rush, there's no need to try and get past them, there's no need to just try and push them. Just take it easy, just take it steady. There's 29 minutes this Grand Prix. We can chill out, we can take our time. It'll be absolutely fine. Quick shout out and a quick thank you to everyone who joined the live stream last Saturday. I had a wonderful time and I'm super pleased with the turnout, so I really appreciate everyone joining and chatting. Shout out to Whizbang and his 2 children, Josh and Nate. They both sat there with him for 3 hours while we did battle online and just raced throughout the live stream. So a big thank you to everyone who joined. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Hopefully we'll be doing another live stream in a couple of weeks' time, probably 3 or 4 weeks. Try and do one every month if I can. I will probably look to increase that, because it does seem that a lot of people enjoyed the live streams and I enjoyed it as well, so it's a win-win. I am still editing the 3-hour highlights video. It's taking a bit of time, but I want to make sure it's done correctly, and I try and get all the best moments in it. So stay tuned for that one. That'll be released on another day when there's already content, so you'll get double up content on one of the days when I upload that eventually. I'm looking forward to finishing that one off, because it's been somewhat tough, because I'm constantly going through it, trying to find the best parts and then trying to gauge whether it'd be worth it. How long a highlights video should be from 3 hours. I'm thinking roughly around 20 minutes ish, so we'll see how I get on. I'll update you as I get further and further towards the completion. 28 minutes of this session remains. 200 hours it's just reached, and 22 degrees. That's a lot of 20s in one sentence. But we do enter turn 12, right on the rear of Chester Anderson now, so I could potentially go for a lunge here. But do I want to? That's the question. I'm enjoying just following the 2 AI riders. It's interesting to see how they get on. They do carry a lot of speed, and they exit at turn 15, and there are a couple of corners where they are just ultimately better than I am. Or at least when I'm holding back. Now, Interlagos is certainly not one of my most favourite tracks. It's probably one of my most least favourites. And I don't think it's a knock on the track, but it's just not one of my style of tracks. I prefer a different style, if you will. I do prefer more of a fast and flowing. This one's rather stop-start in quite a lot of areas. I prefer a different style of track, but I do appreciate there's a lot of fans of this particular venue, and I'm not surprised, because it does look awesome, and it's massive. There's loads of fast-paced corners, and there's obviously some very, very tight right-handers and left-handers, so I do get the idea of this track, but for me, I just cannot seem to really get on with it. I can never find the optimal lines. I can't seem to get into it to really enjoy it and appreciate this track. So I do apologise any Brazilian fans out there watching who are currently shaking their finger at me. Now 27 minutes remain, and I've not considered overtaking any of these guys yet. I'm enjoying this one. This is a little bit different to what I'm used to. Usually by now I've probably already overtaken them, and I'm planning the pit attack. So I'm going to pit when they do. I will not pit until that point, I think. I'm going to just wait my time. Bide the time and just take it easy. But I am very curious to see how this one will unfold. It does feel weird holding back sometimes, because you know you can go much, much quicker, but just holding back a little bit makes it a much more entertaining race for both me and for you guys as well. And then again for me to then commentate afterwards as we all get close there to Chester Anderson. Almost took the rear tyre out of that Ducati. That wouldn't have been very, very wise as we enter Curvo de Sol, or exit Curvo de Sol. Using a bit of the rumble strip if you want to. I do tend to use that a little bit too much, as we're potentially going for a lunge there on Chester Anderson. He outbraked me, he did very well there. He was definitely the last of the late breakers in that incident. Quick update on the fuel and on the tyre situation. Our fuel is currently at 40%, and George Adams and Chester Anderson, the two riders ahead of us, are 28% and 31% respectively. The front tyre is on 38% and the rear is also on 28%. So those tyres are very worn at this point, but they're still going to last a good couple of minutes. I would probably say another 3 or 4 laps, and then pit time is probably definitely the right decision to make at that point. But again, with anything endurance races, you never know what's going to happen. We could crash, Chester Anderson could crash, George Adams could take an early pit stop. Who knows? Suraj Pandey is still there as we're going to make a lunge up on the inside into turn 12. DrAce is not waiting any longer. He's made a lunge up on the inside of Chester Anderson. George Adams into the lead. We're going to try and pursue him now. Really get into his slipstream. I actually thought he was going to pit then. He looked like he was going to take a nice lunge into it. I'm glad he didn't, because I'm not ready to pit yet. I'd like to do a couple more laps if we can. Try and go around the outside of George Adams into turn 1. Not going to happen there for the Senna S. Turn 2, he got a lot of speed there. He did very well. Did much better than what we did. We continue to push forward now. Look at the speed we gave on this BMW. He's also on the BMW, don't forget. So this is a battle of the BMW as he's braking early. Oh, I got stuck on the gravel there. And they'll probably give up second place. Not quite. Chester Anderson wasn't close enough. But I do love on the fact that a recent update, I can't remember how long ago the update was, but it did fix the riders and the bikes on the actual gravel and grass. So in that instance, you see me, I was basically stuck on the gravel there, or the burnt grass, because there's just no way I could, if I turned in, I would have crashed. So the best option there was just to continue braking or gently brake and finally get onto the tarmac to save and recover what had just happened. So going into turn 10, we have an opportunity, a little bit of contact maybe. No, we avoided the contact. Good stuff. George Adams still in the lead. We're going to get into the slipstream as we exit turn 12 and potentially go for him in turn 1. Let's see what happens here. George Adams, ooh, close there. George Adams accelerating. He's got 20% of fuel left. Plenty of time in this Grand Prix as it stands. We're going to really accelerate now. Really chase up to... George Adams, stop! What? Whoa, whoa! What? Oh my goodness, what on earth happened then? I guess we're going to the pits then. I'll see you in a couple of seconds. So the pit has been completed. We are still running the medium front and medium rear, but with 100% fuel. Now that caught me off guard, let me tell you. I expected George Adams to continue, and when I started accelerating I realised he'd stopped. I braked as hard as I could to try and not hit him, which I then went through him, and then went into the corner for the pit lane, and then it put me into the pit. I did not want to pit then, but it happened. It is so weird. We are now into 6th place with George Adams and Chester Anderson behind. I do believe Suraj and maybe 1 or 2 other riders, so Paul O'Connor definitely didn't pit. But I think Suraj is ahead of us somewhere on track as well. 40 seconds behind from the Grand Prix leader, 30 seconds behind Valerie Tremblay. Let's see how we fare now. I must say it's a little bit daunting to see 30 seconds behind the rider in front of us as we completely butcher that corner. That was a terrible, terrible entry to that corner, or exit, or both actually, because we then struggled on turn 8. But it is a little bit off-putting when you see 30 seconds ahead of you. Because Valerie... Oh, never mind, she's just pitted. Because it just sort of plays with your mind a little bit. Even you know that they're going to pit sooner or later, but it just feels like, oh, I'm 30 seconds behind, I need to push. I'm still going to give a little bit more to it and see how far we can get ahead in this Grand Prix. Because Yoko Fujikawa, he's on the hard front tyre and the hard rear, and he's 40 seconds adrift. Now this pit lane is quite massive. The pit lane itself is not too bad, but the exit, oh my goodness, the exit takes ages, as you've just seen. So we'll have to bear in mind, see how far ahead Yoko Fujikawa is, and how far ahead he'll have to be to still remain in the lead. As we do pass a couple of riders now. In fact, it looks like Suraj pitted with us earlier. Shout out to old Suraj Pandey, the Indian. I don't have many Indian followers, but I do believe Ashwin is Indian, so shout out to you, my friend. We're coming up to the halfway point of this Grand Prix for the current time being, which is 20 minutes in, lap 13. So we're roughly looking around 25 to 26, maybe even 27 laps, considering how much time is left on the clock as we finish the next couple of laps. But Michaela, Yoko Fujikawa, they're much ahead of us, but they're going to pit soon. They're probably even going to pit on this lap, to be honest with you. So I don't think we really need to worry about anything at the front. We just have to stay focused. There Michaela has pitted, but Yoko Fujikawa has gone for another lap. So I don't think there's anything to truly panic about right now. It's 40 seconds and a bit ahead of us. But this should be curtains. It should be a nice simple ride for us for now. George Adams behind. He's on the hard front and medium rear. 88% of fuel for him. Our fuel is roughly the same. Now I don't know whether the AI use the actual changing of fuel, whether they change it to power consumption eco or power consumption more power. I think they do, because they lose a lot of fuel compared to us. I never change it and just leave it on the standard one. I mean, I could start running the entire race on eco to see if we can go, but I don't know, I've never done it. But can you finish an endurance race without ever pitting? Is that allowed? Or is it like in F1 where you have to pit at least once or twice, however many times you're told? I've never tried it, and I don't really want to waste a 40-minute endurance doing so, because I'd be pretty miffed if I did it all the way through and then I got disqualified right at the end. But I've never seen a disqualification in Ride 4, so I'm not sure if that's a thing. I really want to try it, but I don't want to waste 40 minutes. I'd be gutted. It'd really do my head in as well. So yesterday, Monster Energy Supercross, the official motocross video game 4, came out, and I am eager to be playing it very soon. I've unfortunately not had the chance to do so yet, because I have been working quite a bit, but I expect Monday to change from MXGP Monday to Motocross Monday. Well, I'll try and include both MXGP and Monster Energy Supercross, the official motocross video game 4. I do love saying like the entire title of that one. Yoko Fujikawa has indeed pitted, so I think that is it from Yoko Fujikawa. Now he may be able to come out of the pit here and probably regain 6th place or 7th place. That's not ideal, especially considering he's been leading this Grand Prix for about 2 or 3 laps. But if anything, I'm sure he's enjoyed the bit of TV time. The sponsors will be pleased to see Yoko Fujikawa at the top, but you'll probably see his name plummet in a moment's time. He's already down to 4th place. Suraj is ahead of him now. Is the Chinese man going to get him as well? Unfortunately, we can't see that anymore, but I think he has. I can't see him on the graphic yet. He's still not come out. So I do think that was probably not the best of decisions from Yoko Fujikawa. 4 seconds lead for us currently as it stands. A nice, comfortable lead as this track gets darker and darker as we exit Decidido Lago. Now, I don't know whether the darkness is depicted very well on YouTube videos, but I tend to play more darker colours because I do find the darkness looks so much nicer, especially in like shooting games and things like that. But I do find the colour balance I have on Ride 4 is pretty nice. It's not too bright in the day and it's quite dark in the evenings. I do like the way I've set this one up. Actually, I'm curious to see how you guys do it. Do you have game's brightness, or do you usually have a darker level? The way I would word it is, when you play a game for the first time and it comes up saying the gamma is at 5/10, reduce it to, or increase it to whatever you like. I usually reduce it down to maybe 3 or 4. Especially for some of the darker shooter games, because you get those darker areas that just look a lot nicer. And especially on this track, that the only parts I really want to be able to see is the parts that are illuminated from the bike's headlights or even the floodlights around the track. And that lead has now grew quite a lot. We're looking at 4.5 seconds, soon to be 5 seconds over Chester Anderson and George Adams. They're on 71% of fuel. Roughly across there, you see up to the Chinese man in 5th place. Everyone's 70% of fuel and roughly the same tyre combination. And that could be a very interesting battle. As you can see in the graphic in the bottom left hand corner, they are roughly all relatively near together. 4th and 5th are together, 2nd and 3rd are together. But there is a little bit of a gap there as we do go quicker into the Sector 1 for the very first time since the fastest lap, which is a long time ago. We were behind Chester Anderson and George Adams when we originally set that lap of a 1:38.22. So let's see if we can improve that here and potentially get into the 1:29s, or at least the low 1:30s. Difficult corner, turn 8. It is easy to just pull the front brake a little bit too much. I did feel the tyre getting a bit hotter in that corner by pushing a little bit too much. I guess a harder front tyre would have been a little bit better, but I'm interested to see how we fare with just using the medium combinations for today. Now the medium tyre is what I've been using for the MotoGP 20 Championship as well, with Kevin Schwantz. I used the medium tyres and that has changed my feeling with that Suzuki, and I'm really enjoying using the medium here for this BMW S1000 RR. Turn 14, navigated extremely well. Turn 15 coming up, don't go over the yellow if you can avoid it, it's probably just bad press. As we now go across the line, it is a 129.937, so the 129s are absolutely possible. I'm pleased to see that we did manage to improve. Going into the Senna S's and then exiting turn 2, and hold it left for turn 3 of Curvo de Sol. That is a nice funky 7 seconds lead over Chester Anderson and George Adams. 14 minutes remaining of this session. You're probably looking at curtains right now. Nice smooth riding from us so far. I'm pleased to see that it's not like Imola. I was a little bit off kilter on Imola. I didn't do very well. Not to my standards at least. As I think I mentioned last time, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So I don't like to crash and I don't like to make many mistakes. Especially when I'm concentrating. Now when I do the live streams I make too many mistakes. And I guess that makes sense because I'm trying to commentate, I'm trying to read the comments, I'm trying to look at the camera, and I'm just trying to make it interesting and entertaining for everyone. So it is a little bit difficult to do that. But here, when in endurance races, I usually tend to sit back in my own free time, just enjoy it, just do all the endurance races myself, and then sit here and do the voiceover afterwards. Because it would be a little bit difficult to do the whole 40-minute endurance race and commentate. And I do find when I don't commentate, or if I race and commentate at the same time, my commentating is not as interesting. It's a little bit... There's too many pauses and too many gaps in between. I do appreciate there's probably a few gaps today because my throat is a little bit sore. But I'm alright for the time being. We're still going. Still quite alright. It definitely was after the 3 hours the other day and that live stream. I don't think I shut up once at any point in that live stream. Maybe once when I went to use the bathroom and that was it. But I like to think that you guys are here for the good commentary, so that's why I like to continue to commentate. Whether it's waffling and rambling about anything or nothing, at least being able to talk and not just watch a bike go round and round is what I like to thrive upon. It's what I like to build the content upon. Of course, MotoGP 21 is not that far away. We're talking just over a month. I cannot wait for MotoGP 21. I am so eager to start my new career mode. So I cannot wait to show you guys. I'll probably be using my real name for the career mode, or I'll probably use Johnny Glamour. But I think I'll use my own name because I want to add my own number. I want to use my own helmet, and I can start commentating them. Because I do find the MotoGP 20 videos, especially the Suzuki one so far in that Classic Championship, has been some of my best commentary work yet. Ride 4 is good, but it's a little bit difficult when you've got to know backstory and you don't have anything about these riders. So Chester Anderson is just a man from Britain, or a man from Great Britain, a man from England. So there's not really else I can say. You know, I can't say he won his first Grand Prix in such and such, or the man from, I don't know, Birmingham, England. You know what I mean? I like commentating, giving a bit more personality to it, and a little bit more in depth instead of just saying the name and what bike they're using. That's why I think MotoGP does work that a little bit better. But Ride 4 has been one hell of a journey, and I'll still continue to make Ride 4 content regardless of whether MotoGP 21's out or not, because the DLC plan for Ride 4 is going to extend until August, I think it is, or even September. It's got a long time yet before this game is finished, and the weekly challenge will probably continue for quite a while, so I'll definitely keep them going. I'll definitely keep the DrAce challenges going as well. But I guess then the question will be, do we do MotoGP DrAce challenges and Ride 4 challenges at the same time? That could be fun. Of course, we do have the proper DrAce time trial challenges, and then Ride 4 Milestone do their own weekly challenges. Of course, our DrAce challenges are the better, superior ones. But I guess they're a lot more difficult, and you don't get as much credits as the Milestone one. But still, it is what it is. So George Adams, Chester Anderson, whopping 10 seconds behind. They aren't going to chase us down. They're still doing battle as well for second place. I think they're pretty much content with second place, and if I was them, I would be too, because I just don't see them catching us. We have not put a foot wrong in this one. We've been extremely consistent, very precise. I'm very pleased with it so far. I'm very pleased with this BMW. I'm trying to get this affinity level up to level 5 or level 4, so I can unlock the BMW tester, and this is why I've used this particular bike here today. I don't tend to use them much often, because of course they're only for the World Superbike League or the World Endurance League, of course. Now, the World Superbike League has, of course, completed, hence the reason why Endurance League has now gone into Friday's videos. And then once that finishes, I don't know what I'm going to replace it with, because there's only 5 videos for, 5 races for the World Endurance League, and we're already on to round 2. So I'm pretty certain we'll win this with 100% victory, of course. But until that point, we'll have to figure out what we can replace it with. So going into turn 6, hold it nice and tight for turn 7. Get ready to brake here for the right-hander. Got to be gentle here or too hard, and you'll... What are the chances? What are the chances? I was just about to say, don't be too hard on the front brake, because you will lose the front. And I have been teetering and toying with that for a good couple of laps. I don't know if you noticed, but the front tyre was getting extremely warm when I was braking on the front tyre in that corner. So, one mistake out of a 40-minute Grand Prix, I don't think it's too bad, is it? I can take that, providing I don't make another mistake and crash. Fingers crossed. I don't believe I do, but who knows? I didn't even remember that crash, to be honest with you. I totally blanked that one out of my mind. So there it is. There's a crash. The only one of this Grand Prix, I hope. 7 seconds ahead of George Adams. We lost about 3 or 4 seconds. In fact, we lost 5 seconds to George Adams and Chester Anderson, but at the same time, it's not really a lot. So they're down to 34%, 33% of fuel. Chester Anderson's on the both hard front and hard rear, but George Adams is only on the medium rear, is a difference to Mr. Anderson. Is that fuel going to last? I'm curious to see if this is going to be enough. Because bearing in mind, we as humans, we as actual people, we wouldn't probably pit at all now. We would try and survive as long as we can, whether the tyres have completely died and whether the fuel is completely gone. So we go wide a little bit again. Turn 7's caught me out once more. Providing I don't crash here into turn 8, everything's alright. Okay, yeah, we're not doing too bad now at 1 AM, 15 degrees. Colder tyres, colder track temperature. It is a little bit difficult to keep it going here. We'll do what we can, but I was going to mention for Chester Anderson and George Adams, the AI, for some strange reason, they like to pit around 10% of fuel. For some reason, I just got a penalty there as well. Did I really deserve a penalty for that? I just barely went across the track there. Damn it. I hate getting penalty time, and there it is. A nice, well, it's only a little bit. It's the Polo Spargaro number. A little cheeky 44,000 of a second. Not improve. I don't approve of that. I'm not happy with the little penalty there. I don't think that was necessary. And what is 44,000 of a second? You can't even see it. But I am curious to see whether George Anderson and Chester... Oh, I've said both of them at the wrong time then. George Adams and Chester Anderson at 25% of fuel each. Are they going to pit early? I bet you they pit at like 10%, 11, 12%. If they do though, Suraj Pandey's got a chance of getting on the podium. So we'll see what happens here. Could be a full British lockout with DrAce, Adams and Anderson. And we'll see how things go. I must say I'm quite consistent in Sector 1 now. Each time has been a 24 seconds-ish, with our best one being a 24 seconds with 1,000th of a second afterwards. And this Grand Prix is coming to a close. I didn't realise there was only 6 minutes of this one left. I'm quite pleased, as my goodness, what on earth is going on there? That's why I was saying to you earlier about avoiding the rumble strip there. It is so dangerous to get on there. So dangerous. Just be careful. If you do end up going onto there, just try and fight it and try and get off there as soon as possible. But sort of take your time about doing it. Don't try and throw it away and just ruin your Grand Prix. Turn 11 navigated pretty tasty so far. 1:30 in the morning. 1.5 seconds we lost by going onto that rumble strip. So definitely avoid that if you can. Don't do what I did. I'll try and practice what I preach next time perhaps. So we go into turn 14. Lovely acceleration here. Turn 15 coming up. 170 miles an hour, could probably get to 185. towards the braking zone. That's got to 188 there, and braking very hard for the Senna S. Used a little bit of rear brake to brake us in, and I've gone wide into turn 1. Take it steady, so I don't want to give it any more penalty time, which we don't collect. Happy to see we weren't awarded anything there. 20% of fuel left for Adams and Anderson. This could be interesting. That's about the most interesting thing we can sort of look at now, because there's not really much else happening. There doesn't seem to be any positions chopping and changing, and we seem to be pretty comfortable here at the front, leading this Grand Prix into Interlagos. Careful on that outside as well. I don't know if you remember the World Superbike League race I did here on board Fuchs's Ducati. I had a absolutely massive moment there where the bike was literally bucking and weaving, jumping around, and it barely survived, and we didn't crash somehow. It was absolutely bizarre. I'll remember that like it was yesterday. As we'll break up here into the zone. Make sure I don't get another penalty this time, would you? I didn't fancy getting the first penalty. I think I just went wide there. Oh, I must have gone onto that little bit of a green after the rumble strip, but I don't think I really benefited from it. Maybe? I don't really know. But we're down by 2 seconds, so we're not putting any incredible lap times in anymore. Tyres have gone down to 20% on the rear, 35% on the front. So the tyres are in the best of shapes, and I think at this point the concentration's probably going a little bit. It is difficult to try and maintain a full focus for 100% of 40 minutes Grand Prix. It's quite a lot to ask, to be honest with you. And I do find a lot of people, especially, I still see it nowadays, even on Reddit and Facebook posts, etc., people asking for rewinds in endurance modes. I am dead against this. The endurance mode is... the point of it is to try and survive the whole 40 minutes. That's the whole appeal to it. So if you could just rewind in it, it would just completely ruin the whole objective of it. Do appreciate from newer players, it is very daunting to do 40 minutes of a Grand Prix without making a single mistake. I do get that, but I don't approve of the rewind. I'm sure we can work towards getting the endurance races. Unless maybe they do 1 rewind per race or something like that. Or maybe it's on a countdown or like a timer. Like a cooldown, you can only do it once every 10 laps or something. I don't know. Just guessing here, but I just, personally for me, don't have them on either way. Adams, Anderson, 8% of fuel now. We're like, well, how did they lose it so quick? Because we're only on 21% fuel. They must change it. But why would they change it? Why would they then go higher? Let's put more power on with 3 minutes remaining, where we don't even have enough power to even last us to the end of the race. They're going to have to pit, both of them. There's no way they're going to survive this rest of this Grand Prix now, because effectively that's 3 laps, or at least 2 laps. Because this lap is 1 minute 30 each. It's probably going to be about 3 laps. So they're not going to survive this. I reckon they're going to pit. And they've already pitted, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Tobin, Yoko Fujikawa, and now up into 2nd and 3rd place once they cross the timing line. But they are quite far back. So they have gone from the graphic now, both 2nd and 3rd place. 4th and 5th are just charging towards the timing line now. And Yoko Fujikawa and Eric Toman, not in that order, it's the other way around. Toman into 2nd, Fujikawa into 3rd. But then Toman himself, he's on 14% of fuel. Is that going to be sufficient? The questions are asked of AI yet again. Surely they need to look into this. I think at this point Marcel has just given up with Ride 4 and the AI in this one. If MotoGP 21's physics and AI are like MotoGP 20, we'll have a damn good game. But if it's anything like Ride 4, I love the physics on Ride 4, I really do. But if the AI is like Ride 4's, then we're probably going to have a little bit of a boring experience compared to what MotoGP 20 offered. Of course, MotoGP 20, the AI is brilliant. They are very competitive. And they're also not shy of attacking you. Now, the AI in Ride 4 can be a little bit brain dead sometimes, and they make ridiculous lunges. I've had some funny entertaining moments when the AI dives up on the inside and you try and anticipate their movements and then you can flick it up. I do like trying to avoid the crashes sometimes, it's quite interesting. So I'm keen to see how it goes in MotoGP 21. Getting up to 189 miles per hour as we enter turn 1. Last time we did that I ended up messing it up. But thankfully this time we managed it quite alright. I'm happy with that one, very pleased. So the next question is, Eric Toman is an 8% of fuel. Surely to goodness he is not going to... Why? Why would you pit on the last lap, you muppet? Has Richard Tresoldi also pitted? Goodness me. Alvin Finch now up into the podium position. Great stuff from Alvin Finch. He's on 1% of fuel. I didn't even see that. I was just about to sing his praises. The man started in 11th place on board the Yamaha YZF-R1. And he just ran out of fuel. The man on the podium position. You can see him in the bottom left-hand corner of the graphic. I don't know how long he's going to stay in third. Oh, now he's going slowly. We're on low fuel, but that doesn't really matter. We're on the final lap of this Grand Prix, so as soon as we complete this one, it is curtains. So we can just sort of saunter on to the end. Michaela has taken third place. Should be. I tell you what, that's a brilliant result for her. That is a brilliant result. I was wrong when I said Alvin Finch started in 11th. Alvin actually started in 10th. He was going to go ahead. And Richard Soldi now saves him doing an extra lap, as he'll automatically finish his Grand Prix as he follows us over the line. Michaela started 11th, also in the BMW, and she takes third place. Another DrAce victory. So guys, that is it. That's your curtains. Brilliant result for us so far, round 2 of the World Endurance League. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single DrAce upload, and I will see you next time. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.